Hey guys, Aisazia here, and today I will be doing a review slash color demo with the Sennelier Test Pack. It's a couple years old, so the box is a little rusted and this is a little worn, so sorry about that, please ignore. But it comes shrink wrapped, and I actually enjoy this set a lot, so I will go over it with you more in depth during the review. But let me just show you what it looks like on the outside. So it has 5 different colors. It's made in France. And this is actually a pretty affordable set. Feel free to pause the video to read the description. But Sennelier is an artist grade, or Sennelier L'Aquarelle is an artist grade watercolor, so for what you pay and get, this is actually a pretty reasonable set. As you can see, it comes in a nice tin box, which you can reuse to store other things if you like, but it comes in this little foam package. I guess you can take it out, but it comes with lemon yellow, and you can pause to read the descriptions if you like. I've used these tubes a little bit, so that's probably why it looks less full, in case you were wondering. These are a good range of colors, I think. I think my only questionable color I would have is this bright red, since it doesn't have any ratings on the pigment or light fastness. So if you're kind of concerned about that, you might want to substitute this red with something else. But I think all the other colors are good colors to have in your palette and are pretty light fast and good colors to have. If you hear birds, please forgive that. I have my window open and they can be very noisy. And then here is Chinese orange. Oh, I forgot to mention, this is ultramarine blue deep. And so the way I like to see this set, or at least my interpretation of this set, is that they were trying to create a trio, and then these two colors would be modifying colors. And this is Payne's Gray. Sorry if the focus is not good, but it looks. Okay, there we go. Strange. But yeah, this is what it comes with, and then we'll move on to the demo part. Okay, let's get started on the color swatches and color mixes. So I actually have the paints already poured out over here. It might be a little contaminated, especially the yellow, but I'll clean that up. But so here we have lemon yellow, bright red, ultramarine deep, Chinese orange, and then Payne's Gray. And let's get started. I'm actually pretty pleased with the color selections that they have, other than the bright red. So lemon yellow is transparent, made of PY3, and has a light fastness of 2 or good. And it's a pretty standard cool yellow. I like lemon yellow so far for my color mixes. And then we have bright red. It's a good color. I like it a lot. I just am not a fan of it being fugitive or not light fast. It's semi-transparent, which is pretty true. I can see it still past the painting. It doesn't have a light fast rating or any pigment property, so that is a downfall of this set. Sennelier watercolor paints are made from honey, so it is not vegan, but I think it's good to have to re-wet. It does make it a lot easier, but I don't mind it if it's not super juicy, but I kind of like it, especially if you have a climate where it's super humid. These may not be the best for you, as they might retain the moisture from the air and make it hard for it to ever dry up, so it will be super juicy all the time. So that may be something you may not like. This is Ultramarine Deep. It's PB29, transparent and granulating, and has a light fastness of 1, or excellent. And I actually really like this blue. It's pretty nice, and I kind of like the granulation. It doesn't bother me. It might bother some artists, but for me, I quite like it. I'm not sure if we'll see much granulation here. This is the Stillman and Byrne Alpha Series sketchbook that I'm using. Initially, when I first started using these paints, I wasn't a fan, but I think it was mostly user error, so I think I wasn't pulling enough pigment from the paint, so I thought that it didn't have enough pigment load, but I found that to be wrong. The more I used it, it actually ended up being my fault in not being able to pull up more pigment and laying it down thicker. These are one of my first sets, so I wasn't quite sure how to use it, so I do recommend it. It might take a little bit of a learning curve, but you'll figure it out. Just I feel like you have to use it a little bit more just to make sure. And I forgot to color these guys in for the color mixes. So I've heard that Sennelier colors were meant to be used in layers, so that's something to take note of. They have very nice vibrancy and glow on the paper once it dries, so I appreciate that fact, although I wasn't quite sure how to see it at first when I started painting, but once I started to glaze and layer the colors, I started to be able to see the differences between that. And then let me finish swatching these colors over here. So this is Chinese orange. It's considered transparent. See what I mean about like it being user error? I wasn't picking up enough pigment for it to share or show. And we'll make it a weird shape because I don't want it to mix with the yellow. It's PY 150. Transparent and light fast. Excellent. And then here's Payne's Gray. So this is semi-transparent, light fast, excellent, and then it's made up of 3 colors. So PB19, PB15:1, PB Black 7. I think it's PB Black, yes. So it's like a purple or a red, a blue, and then a black. And I actually like using Payne's Gray. I feel like I could always modify the colors as I need to. I kind of like the cool undertones, so I think that might be a preference thing. So I'm gonna let that dry and then we'll come back for color mixing. Okay, now that the paint is dry for that, let's go ahead and do some color mixes. See what kind of greens these make. Sorry, this is just gonna be kind of like messy playing. I don't really take a lot of care with mixes when I play around. The red definitely overpowers the yellow I got there. And it's a pretty neutral orange. I feel like it's very similar to the Chinese orange, maybe just a little bit more pinker in hue. Well, we can do some more color mixes later to play around with the different hues of the colors. And I like the green that this makes, this combination. It's nice, kind of tealish green. I wouldn't say it's a sap green. And this makes a nice kind of neutral-ish purple. You won't get a vibrant purple from these colors, unfortunately, but it will make a nice shadow color. Alright, let's go ahead and do some modifying colors. Going to do this, do the Chinese orange on the right or left, the Payne's gray on the right, and then have the colors in the middle kind of spread out towards the colors. And I gotta do this kind of fast because paint does dry fairly quickish on this paper, and it doesn't do well with like blending. Well, I mean, it does compared to other papers, but it doesn't blend like cotton paper. So that is something to consider for this kind of sketchbook. Alright. It's kind of like a peachy color. And this is kind of making like a grayish green olivey color, probably because of the the purple, or not purple, the red and the blue. So it looks a little green, in my opinion. Kind of interesting. Yep, that's bothering me. I think I probably used a little too much water here. And this definitely looks more violet with the red in it. Kind of like that. I didn't know that it made that color. And then this. Kind of looks more like a rust color. Starting to get a little dry. Oops. So this is looking a little more neutralized, kind of gray-green. And then over here it looks a little more like navy, kind of. Pick up some of this extra wet water. And it gets a pretty good range. Like I said, it's pretty vibrant colors, but it won't get like the super saturated, like bright purples or bright oranges. But it's a pretty good palette for like more neutral colors, so even like landscapes, some portraits, you can get a decent amount of colors from these 5. Alright, let's do actual color mixes. Let's do a little red and orange to see actually what kind of yellow it gets. Kind of a, oops, maybe got a little blue in there. Yeah, so it's like a kind of more neutralized. Orange, yellow. It's not my go-to for skin colors. I wouldn't. See how it tinges out a little bit. I feel like the colors are a little bit opaque. Something's opaque. It's probably the bright red from this. It's okay for a skin color. I think I did use it for skin colors, but it's not my preference, I think, for that. Alright, let's do... Sorry guys, my camera cut out, but I just painted this green. It's a nice jewel tone green. I wouldn't say it's sap green. You could probably add a little bit more yellow to it, but I think you would need another color. But it's good for foliage, I think. It's a nice neutral color, green color for that. Alright, let's do purple. I'm expecting a pretty dark, shadowy purple. Let's see, let's play with this one. So here you can get like a violet kind of color. I'm not quite sure how to put that. It's like red purple. but I don't use that color as much. I usually use it with more blue. Here we go. Gets more shadowy. Kind of like that. I like the cool purple blue better. It's actually funny, yellow isn't my favorite color, but I tend to use it a lot in my paintings. It's actually really funny. So this is Chinese orange and yellow. Just to see what other skin tone colors I could possibly get with this. So this is a little bit more golden, I think. Oops, wrong color. Oops. Don't want to waste the paint. See how it looks with more orange. A little bit more of like a bronze color. Kind of like the golden a little bit more. And then I'm sure if we add a little Payne's gray to it, that would darken it, but it's turning a little green blue. Let's see. With the yellow. It's kind of more of an umber color. So that would make a decent skin tone color, I think. It kind of looks like a candy corn. Oh, I just realized that. Did not intend on that at all. Alright. Kind of curious to see what like this bright red makes with Payne's gray. Oh, this makes like a very similar to the mixing with the blue. Yeah, this definitely makes like a gray, red gray. Kind of almost black. Probably because of the Payne's gray black. Interesting. Okay. As you can see, I'm kind of learning how the colors all mix together. Even though I've used it, I still don't know if I know the full range of the colors that it can make. So I'm just kind of color mixing, experimenting with you guys here too. Wonder what this red and this Chinese orange would be like. Probably a deeper. Okay. A little bit more like a neutral red. Yeah, I don't know. Wouldn't say it's a brick red, more like kind of a rosy brick red. I don't know. I'm sorry if I'm not describing this well. This is my first time doing this on camera. I usually keep these thoughts to my head, so hopefully it doesn't sound too crazy. Let's see what other colors. I kind of want to see if I can get a sap green. If I use more yellow, how does that look? It's like a yellow green to me. It's not bad. It would make good foliage colors though. So I know we can make some decent browns. Let's do that. Do a little bit of browns. Let's mix these together. So this is bright red, lemon yellow, and ultramarine. A little bit more red. I think this is what I ended up kind of doing to make some deep browns. I think I had to add more paint, but let's see how it looks. Oop, need more red. That's probably too much red. There we go. Now we're starting to make more blue. I mean brown. Oh my goodness. This is kind of how I mix colors, in case you were wondering. Yep. I think that's kind of what I ended up doing over here on accident. But that was with the orange, or the Chinese orange yellow and the lemon yellow and ultramarine instead. They make fairly similar colors, I think. Let's see what other colors can we play with. Let's see. You can see that these re-wetted really quickly. I didn't even spray them beforehand, so, but it's pretty humid today here where I live, but it's not normally humid. Well, some days it's humid, some days it's not, so it's kind of hit or miss. So I definitely don't live in the Caribbean, so it's not as humid as it is there. Let's see. Okay, let's do, I want to see if I can get like a peachy skin tone, and I thought I was able to do that. Yeah, I don't think you get the greatest like peach color here for skin tones, for, at least for this mix. Alright, let's do a dark green. Running out of space here. So we'll start with making green, and then we'll add some Payne's Gray to it. Oop, maybe too much. Let's see how that looks. Okay, there we go. It's like a dark olivey green. I like it. Yep, that works. Yeah, so this is a pretty good palette for like landscapes, I think. Not necessarily for flowers or stuff like that, but like kind of off in this distance, mountains, or some basic foliage. I wouldn't say it has a lot of value of colors to make different greens, but it gives you like basic if you want to do like a quick sketch green and just throw on color, you know, just to symbolize that this is a tree. I'm not sure how in depth you can get for that, but I'm sure you could layer on other colors to add more depth. I'm still learning those skills, so take my advice with a grain of salt. I'm still learning. Alright, let's see what other colors. Sorry, I'm just kind of just deciding. This is how I practice, sort of.
Well, I don't actually do it this neatly. I kind of just throw colors onto the page just to see what they come up with, but I don't do the grids because for me it's too structured and it takes too much time to do the grids, and I just kind of like okay, this makes that sort of thing, and that works for me. It may not work for you, but you know, everybody learns differently, right? Let's make it like a deeper brown here. Let's see how that looks. Deeper than that. Some people don't like black in their palettes, and I actually don't mind it, but I actually prefer not having white in my paints. Yeah, so it's kind of weird. I know, I'm kind of weird. I mean, I can use it, but I think I don't like it when it's like super opaque. I don't like opaque colors. Sorry, I'm just looking at that color. I was like, that's still blacker than I thought it would turn out to be. There we go. I think this, yeah, I think it needed more brown. There we go. I wanted a more richer brown rather than black. Kind of looks greenish a little. It might have been like contaminated colors. There might have been an orange in it, or might have used the Chinese orange. I don't know. But yeah, that's kind of how I paint. Let me know how you guys color mix or paint. Do you guys use the grid, or do you guys just like kind of throw colors on, play around, see how it goes? Let me know. I'm curious to see what you guys think. Do you do it the same as me? Do you do it even stranger, or do you just paint? Some people just paint, and that's probably a good way to go. But I feel like it might be beneficial for me to do more of this to learn how all the colors mix. Let's see, got a little bit of space here, gotta use up all the page, so let's see what the blue and ultramarine actually look like again. Yeah, it's not that much different, just like a kind of like moody, stormy blue. Okay. Let's do the red and Payne's gray. I can't remember if that was red or not. Let's do that. Yeah, it just ends up being more kind of like a violet cast. That's not bad either. This is more neutralized, I think, than, oh, up here. It's like, it's not, I kind of like it. It's kind of a gray purple. And let's add, let's try the Payne's gray and the yellow again. I think it did make like kind of olive. Green, not bad. That's weird. Sorry, the video cut off. What I thought was strange was that I used yellow and Payne's gray and it made this green. And I thought that was interesting. But it's probably due to the blue that is in the Payne's gray. So I wanted to point that out. And then I will do a close-up of these colors. Excuse any shakiness, I'm holding the camera by hand for these close-ups. But as you can see, the swatches have dried and they are pretty vibrant. And for what you get with this set, I think it's pretty reasonable. And you get a decent amount of color range as well. I'd recommend it if you could pick it up. I forgot to mention that they come in 10 milliliter tubes, but you probably saw that. And that's actually really good because most samples packs only give you like 5 milliliter tubes. So
Anyways, I hope you guys enjoy it. And maybe this will help you decide whether or not you guys actually want to purchase this set. Alright.